What's going on, people? Welcome to Premsy TV. Make sure you're smashing a like on this video and subscribe if you're new people. But there's quite a bit to discuss regarding the Arsenal, and we're going to dive straight into it with the Raya deal. It looks like Raya has officially signed for the club over the last couple of days. It's all come out everywhere, and it's a loan deal with an option to buy. He's going to be wearing the number 22 shirt. But where does this leave Aaron Ramsdale now? What's going to happen in regards to the goalkeeping positions? We're just going to have to wait and see how it unravels. But I must say, I like Raya as a goalkeeper. I think he's going to come in and he's going to shine in his time at the club, and we will potentially go out there and buy the player at the end of the season. We're going to need to, because I don't think we have any other goalkeepers in the ranks that can push Aaron Ramsdale to higher heights or even step in for him due to an injury or anything like that. So I think we will get the Raya deal signed. It's just interesting because why would you leave Brentford when you're the main goalkeeper there to come and play for Arsenal in a bit part? I can't really see that happening. So I got a sneaky feeling that Arteta might be a little bit ruthless, because we've seen Arteta be ruthless at times with players like Ozil and Aubameyang and so on. He might just bring him in and start him, because the one thing Arteta has said this season, he wants to be very unpredictable. We've seen with the opening game as well this season against Forest that we were very unpredictable. The starting lineup, I was very confused about. I didn't understand why certain players were playing. Thomas Partey out of position and the likes of that. But it did work for us, even though we've had the bad news of the injury to Timber, which we will touch on. It did work. We got the 2 goals. Kind of was too comfortable in the game, for my opinion. Even though we weren't creating so many opportunities, we literally managed to get over the line. It did become a little bit shaky towards the end. Forest got a goal, which, in my opinion, is not acceptable conceding at home against Forest, especially when there's no threat from them going forward. You get me? So that's something we need to fix up. Gabriel being out of that starting lineup was so bamboozling. It was unreal, because we know Saliba and Gabriel, the longer they play together, the partnership that they can develop going into the season will only be a plus for the team. So it was surprising to see Ben White put in centre-back alongside Saliba. Maybe he just thought, you know what, Forest ain't going to be attacking us so much. They're not going to be creating too many opportunities. We can play Thomas Partey on the right. That way we can have kind of Timber, Saliba and Ben White as a 3 and push Thomas Partey in midfield when need be, which it did work at times. It let us retain a lot of the ball. I think we had like over 80% possession for most of that game. But ultimately, I don't think we were as effective as we've seen us last season. And I don't think we've been as effective as in certain games in pre-season as well. So it's a bit of a mad thing, to be honest, but we're going to have to wait and see what Raya does when he comes in. Is he going to be able to push his way to a starting lineup? To be fair, I hope so. I want to see him play, and that's not me trying to, now a new guy's in, throw away the old toy in Aaron Ramsdale, because like I've said many times before, I think Aaron Ramsdale, he's done exceptionally well since he's come to the football club. He's a fan favourite. He knows how to get the fans up for it. And that's what we need, because sometimes at the Emirates, it can turn stale within the atmosphere, and players like Ramsdale help lift the crowd. So I'm not trying to say dash him away and that's it, wash our hands off him. I just want to see good competition. And we know Aaron Ramsdale's got a few mistakes in him. And I think Raya with his feet is a better goalkeeper. So in certain games, I would want to see Raya to help us build up them attacks from the back as well. But big up to everyone in the cut as well. Let's get a few of your comments in. Yes, my GKG, big up yourself, broski. Invincibles, big up yourself as well. I think he's going to be our Champions League keeper or even cup competition. I think, to be honest with you, I see it like that as well. I think Ramsdale will play Premier League, maybe FA Cup, and Raya will be Champions League, Carabao Cup. I think he'll mix it around in that kind of sense and give us a little bit more rotation in the goalkeeper third. But it's one of them, innit? If Ramsdale gets injured, we need somebody to come in and fill the gloves. Get me? Not fill the boots, fill the gloves. We seen last season, Turner come in, he did okay, but we still can go higher. And in order for us to go out there, compete for the title and keep improving season upon season, we need to be buying players that are as good or better than the players that we've got in the starting lineup. And I think with this deal, that's something that we've definitely done. So, well, it's going to be interesting. Well, go on, Premsy, big up yourself, social join, see you in the cut all the time. I can see it already. I don't even want to talk about Timber. It's freaking sad and in suffering. You know what? It's one of them situations where he came into the club, decent bit of money as well. It wasn't like we went out there and spent 50, 60 million pound for him. We brought him for a good price. And he's in pre-season, he's literally shown us all that he's going to come to this team and make an impact. He's not just going to come to the team to make up numbers. He's literally going to be one of the players from the back that can push forward, help create, brilliant at tackling. He's quick, he's fast. You can see he's a quick learner because he's settled into the system very quickly. You know what I mean? And it's not easy always leaving a country, leaving a different league, coming into a different team around different players and settling in that quick. That just shows you the kind of character that he's got. Obviously, it looks like he's going to be out for at least 6 months, which is a massive blow. It's a huge blow. 6 months minimum. That's what we're hearing. And I'll be honest, with an injury like that, it could probably take you out for most of the season. And it didn't even look too bad. That's the maddest thing about it. It didn't look too bad. Was it our fault that after half time we let him carry on and we should have maybe took him off earlier and it kind of aggravated the injury a lot more? Who knows? But it looks like the curse of Arsenal is here. You get me? A player that hasn't been injured for the most time of his career has come to Arsenal and bam, there we go. Straight away, collect your peas and sit on the sideline. It's a mad thing. I'm telling you, it's a mad thing because out of the three players that we brought in Havertz and Timber and Rice, I know it's a bit crazy because Rice got brought for a lot of money. I was warming to Timber the most. And now, unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be out of the team, which is going to be a massive loss, especially when we're in the Champions League and we're playing against the big teams and the big boys. Timber can do a job defensively. It's a bit surprising that he's come in and he's been playing at left back for us because I think most of us probably thought he's going to come in, play in the right back position, cover for Ben White or right centre back position. If we need him in midfield, he can also do that. But it is one of them situations where now we're going to have to go and explore our options, and that's something that Arteta and Arsenal are looking to go and do, explore the options. I hope it's true. I hope that they're going out there to try to bring in another body. It does look like we're after another left-sided centre back or defender. Knowing Arsenal, they might go for somebody that's a little bit more versatile rather than an out-and-out left back or a left-sided centre back. We see that run throughout the whole squad now, versatility. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go there and get somebody who's versatile. Because Tomiyasu, I do like Tomiyasu. I think he's much better at right back than he is playing at left back. We all seen last season he did a real good job against Salah when they came to the Emirates, and hats off to him. But I think also with Tomiyasu, he has a lot of injury problems. I don't think we can rely on him for a full season. That's my honest opinion. I like the way he plays football. He's big, he's strong, he's not scared. He likes to get forward as well. But ultimately, for the whole season, can we rely on Tomiyasu due to his injury concerns? I don't know. So it just makes sense for us to go out there before the 1st of September and go and get a player in, because Timber going is bad news, real bad news. Come on, Premsy, good seeing you back. Respect. You know what? It was my missus's birthday yesterday, so I was mad busy doing all sorts. I was trying to push Premier League Unpacked to today, but obviously a lot of the lads couldn't really make it. So we are going to try to do Premier League Unpacked tomorrow around 1 o'clock. So make sure you guys stay tuned in and check out for that as well. That Timber situation is sad. A lot of United fans give a hard evil eye. You know what, bro? I swear to God, yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. You get me? Because I'm Asian, I'm Indian. You get me? And we believe in a thing called Nazar. And obviously, a lot of people might know what it is, but obviously, people that are not from the background might not. And what it is when somebody looks at you and they're a bit jealous of you or whatnot, they could end up giving you bad eye, evil eye. And I think that's what's happened with this Timber situation. Get me? I am superstitious. I'm a superstitious person, yeah. And since he's come in, people are hating that we managed to sign this player for like 34 million, and they can see what he's giving to us. And it is a bit crazy how on the first game, opening game, he gets his debut and he's out for pretty much most of the season. It's a mad thing. So I agree with you. Bad eye, man. Definitely bad eye. Arsenal since 1987. Big up yourself. Do you think Arteta disrespected Nottingham Forest with the team lineup he picked? Um, It's a bit of a funny one because for me, I want to see my strongest team every game. You get me? But at the same time, I do understand rotation because that's something that we've lacked at Arsenal for a long time. And most of us fans want us to be able to rotate, have a deep enough squad to rotate in certain games. I think it was the wrong decision, in my opinion, because you got to make a statement on the opening day. Get me? If we would have won 4-5-6-0, teams are going to be looking at you and shaking in their boots the next time you come up to play against them. Now, we pretty much controlled the game for most of it. Last 10 minutes, yeah, Forest kind of got back into the game, but it gives other clubs a bit of hope and think, you know what, if we end up scoring a goal against these, we'll end up rattling them a little bit more. You get me? It gives them that little bit of a hope. So I think I would have went for my starting lineup to be fully strong, but look, at the end of the day, we won the game. We took the 3 points away. So can I say he's kind of wrong for picking that lineup? No. Disrespecting to Nottingham Forest, I'll be honest with you, Nottingham Forest shouldn't be coming to the Emirates and beating us, regardless what team they've got. So whoever we put out against Forest, that should be enough to beat them. So I don't know about the disrespecting thing because I probably would have disrespected them as well. And that's just the truth. Even though we say we got to take everybody serious in this league, I get it. But maybe there might have been some underlying issues that we didn't know. Maybe Gabriel was sick low key. Maybe that could have potentially been a reason for it. Eddie Nketiah got called into the team, and I wanted to see Eddie start up front rather than Havertz, to be honest with you. And he came in, scored, done his job. Happy days. I think maybe Trossard could have got a game. You get me? Come on a little bit earlier into the game. I think he's been outstanding in pre-season. And to be fair to Trossard, you want to be able to keep him oiled up and keep him going because he's going to be a vital player for us this season. I'm telling you now. Social Joy says he won't make this season unless we are winning the league. Last last few games to get him appearances. No point rushing him back. Uh, yeah, I wouldn't rush him back. I think if we bring him back from an injury like that, it becomes a disaster because you start having reoccurring problems and you might not come back the player that you are. And you got to think this is probably one of his first biggest injuries as well. So we're going to have to wait and see how he kind of copes with the rehabilitation and the recovery and stuff like that. So I think he's got all the support from his friends and family and the fan base. I think he's already a loved player and I think he feels that as well. So hopefully Timber comes back stronger than ever. But it doesn't deny the fact that we now need to go out there and bring somebody else in. And we will touch on some of the targets that Arsenal are looking at. We're gonna have to wait and see who we bring in. Um, trying not to be reactionary, but common man, come on, man, 6 months out. What is the point of signing him? Ajax Condos. You can't really say the Condos because up until we signed him, he never really got injured and he was ever present for them. So it just looks like maybe it could be the intensity that maybe we're having in training. You get me? It might be totally different to what Ajax is and what he's used to there. He could be coming in and I don't know, but I can't think we got to blame Ajax for this one. You get me? I think this is just an unfortunate thing that's happened. He's It's mad because when it comes to your knee, 9 out of 10 is an awkward movement, and we seen him go in for that tackle. That seemed to be where it kind of all started from. You get me? So I can't think we could blame anyone for that at all. I'm telling you now for a fact, it's mad. It's absolutely mad. Arteta will sign a dog called. Shit, don't take the piss. You get me? I know we've all seen that dog in it win. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't know what the fuck that's about. You get me? I keep it 110. You get me? I understand, yeah, that you want to have a winning culture through the club, but having a dog around, yeah, called Win, yeah, in my opinion, that ain't going to really do anything too significant. You know what I mean? You're hearing players want to be taking it home and looking after it and all that, yeah, which is a nice thing to do. But at a football club, you get me? I don't know what's going on. Mascot, we got Gunnosaurus, you get me? We don't need dog Win. It's a mad thing. It's a mad thing. The Forest game was a good experiment. We got all new signings in the first team and we worked out on some potential stuff. We used this formation again, but with 100% fitness. Yeah, I suppose that could be one way to look at it, that Arteta might have thought, you know what, we could kind of use this game as a bit of a pre-season game and still try to figure some stuff out because Forest, all due respect to them, they're not no Man City, they're not no United, they're not one of the big boys in the division. So he might have looked at it that way. But again, I want to win every single game. After the heart pain and the ache of last season of us competing all the way to the very end and then just absolutely fucking up and letting it go, I'm not with that now. I think we need to learn from our mistakes. Like somebody said, not take anybody lightly, not really disrespect Nottingham Forest, even though I can understand why he's done it. We just need to go out there and just absolutely turn everybody over, because I touched on it last season. The fear factor is a massive thing. I think something that we kind of started to gather again was the fear factor at the club. And we seen that last season, most teams that come against us and played against us, they sat back, had a low block because they had fear. Now, when we was winning trophies, when we had the likes of Vieira and Henry and Lundberg and all these kind of guys, people were shit scared of us. Get me, half of the battle was won before we've even stepped out on the pitch. And we need to fully regain that. We need to have that. Now, people are looking at us and Manchester City as the two teams to beat. Obviously, City, they've had an unfortunate injury of their own with Kevin De Bruyne, but this could be now a situation where we could potentially use that as an advantage and push on, and City might not be as strong, because we all know what a quality player Kevin De Bruyne is and what he brings to that Manchester City side. He's an absolute bad man. That's just the truth of the matter, you get me? This guy is a loss to any team. So Man City would definitely feel the loss of that. We can see that they have recruited a few players. They brought in Kovacic and so on, but they've let go of the likes of Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne are out of that team. That is a big, big loss. Mahrez ain't even there anymore. So this could be an opportunity for Arsenal to push on and potentially win the league. However, we're going to have to wait and see how we cope with the pressure, how we cope with the expectancy, because last season there was no expectation on them. You get me? There was no expectation on the boys. They can go out there and they could do what they do. If they end up losing a game, they knew people were just going to say, oh, we knew Arsenal were going to fall off. No, 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 no. Nobody expected them to do this. Now people are expecting the world. Arsenal fans are expecting us to win a trophy. Arsenal fans are expecting us to go all the way in the competition and go and win something. And ideally, the Premier League and Champions League is up there. How realistic it is winning the Champions League in your first time back in 6 years, questionable. But we do have things going for us, to be honest. We do have things. People don't really know how to play Arsenal. People might come up against Arsenal and misjudge them. They might not know Arteta's tactics, the passion that a lot of these players will have to play in the Champions League. For example, Saka, which is going to be his first time, Martinelli, Odegaard back there. It's going to show some motivation for the lads. So we seen with Tottenham, they were newcomers to the competition. 2 seasons in, they were in the final. So maybe something like that can happen with Arsenal, but we need to see some definite improvements on last season. And I want to see most of all that we can handle the pressure, because if we can handle the pressure, we've got a decent squad. Yeah, I also say we do need a striker, and that's probably one of my priorities. I think we do need somebody that can give us a different option when it's not going for us. But it is what it is, people. What's a realistic Champions League exit stage? To be honest with you, realistic for me is quarters, semis. I'd probably say semis more. I think with the bookies, with 4 favourites to win the competition, we've seen 2 shit teams in AC Milan and Inter Milan get to the final last year, and they were both in the semis. It all depends on the run that we have as well. If we give a favourable run, then we'll go further along in the competition. If we're given a really tough run in these kind of competitions, you can't really make a mistake. Otherwise, you're going to end up getting mashed up real quick. Would you prefer Eddie or Trossard up front? I'm team Trossard. Eddie balled out. Baller Eddie. I'm team Trossard. Baller Eddie out. I'll probably, you know what? I don't want to be too harsh on Eddie Nketiah, because he came in and he done his job. Every time he starts for us, he does his job. You get me? And I'm a big person that always thinks, can Eddie keep this going? Can Eddie be consistent enough? And so far, he has shown us he has been pretty consistent. However, I would start Trossard. I think Trossard would offer us a lot more than just goal scoring. I think his interchange would be better than Eddie Nketiah up front. I think he will allow Martinelli to push into the middle. He'll also allow Saka to push into the middle, because he can play on both wings, left or right. We know he's clinical on set pieces. He's got a finish, left foot, right foot. You get me? And in pre-season, you got to take pre-season into account, because that's what the pre-season's about. Seeing what players are up for it, and if they do well, implement them in the squad. Because for me, he was our best player in pre-season, so we have to see what the situation is with that. Social Join says semi-finals in the Champions League. Told you there's big expectation on the boys this year. Like, we got to definitely prove our worth this season, 110%. We have 6 players to ship out. We do that and get a striker, 10 out of 10 window. Edu is clear. To be fair, credit to Edu, he's done some good business, but we'll touch on a few more signings that could potentially come into the door, because Cancelo is potentially being linked to Arsenal, and also is Laporte. And I think if we get in one of them two, we'll definitely be strengthening, especially with the loss of Timber. As long as we don't play City, you know what, City and Real Madrid are going to be the two toughest teams. I think now Bayern Munich having Harry Kane as well, that's going to be a very tough challenge. Look at Harry Kane, man. It might be the curse of Harry Kane going there, and they didn't even win a first trophy. You get me? It's a bit of a mad thing. We love Arsenal says get Tony in January. You know what? I'd love Ivan Tony. I love him, and I love him at the Arsenal. You get me? I could see him in an Arsenal shirt, and I think he would give us something that we haven't got. You get me? That Giroud kind of player. You get me? Somebody strong, physical, get his head on the ball. You get me? And he scores goals. He's proven in this league. That is the beauty of Ivan Tony. He'll come back with hunger, desire to show everybody, rah, fuck all of that. You get me? I missed this amount of football. I'm still that guy. And I think if Arsenal do something like that, it'd be fantastic. But whether we would go and sign a player that's going to just come in January, I don't know. Excuse me. But let's touch on Aymeric Laporte and Cancelo. It looks like Barcelona are after Cancelo first of all, but they have to release a few players before they can bring Cancelo in. So that leaves a window open for Arsenal to go out there and look at Cancelo and think, you know what, he can play left, he can play right. Get me? He loves to get forward. Maybe defensively he's not the best, but he's a player that Arteta's worked with before, and we all know he does. He does like him. It's simple as that. Let me get some of these. Laporte or Cancelo, who's better for what we need with Timber gone? Tony is a must sign. You know what? I think who's better for us? I'd probably say Cancelo, even though I really like Laporte, but Laporte's injuries are horrendous. He's injured all the time, Aymeric Laporte. You get me? So, and plus, he's probably just more of a left-sided centre back rather than he can play out on the left back position or the right back position. I could be wrong, because when Ben White come, we didn't really see him as a right back. So I don't know, but I'd probably go for Cancelo, to be honest. I think he's a quality player, Cancelo. Premsy, did you watch the boxing recently? Yeah, 100%. If you're talking about the Anthony Joshua one, then yep, I watched that. Big up my brother Premsy. No disrespect, we're not selling first team players to Arsenal. Big up yourself. You know what? I was going to come on to that as well, because that's going to probably be one of the only stumbling blocks for Arsenal to maybe get a Cancelo or Laporte, because now Arsenal are looking at, Man City are looking at Arsenal in a very different light. They're looking at us thinking, if we keep giving players to them, we're only strengthening them. And at the moment, these are our closest rivals. So do you do that, or do you not do that? Which is probably the reason why I can't see us going out there getting a Cancelo or a Laporte, even though I would probably like to get a Cancelo. I think we'll have to maybe look around and try to shop somewhere else. But maybe Pep Guardiola might just be Arteta's serious boy and say, you know what, I don't mind. I still got enough belief in what I can do. It doesn't matter who you take. I'll still think that I'm going to win the league. You get me? So, yeah, you can take a guy. Happy days. But the moment we start doing that, yeah, I don't want to be seeing there's transfer talks of Saka or Martinelli or all these players going to City now. Arsenal and City have developed a transfer relationship, because we all seen what happened when the money came in at City. They came and absolutely bleeded us dry. So it's a bit of a mad thing. Social says Cancelo is rotten, bad vibes. It's one of them, innit? Obviously, I don't really know what's going on in the background. From what I see from him on the pitch, I can only judge that. And from on the pitch, he's a good player, man. He's a good player. He's definitely, and I think Arteta probably will know how to rein him in. I don't think Arteta will bring in a player if he thinks that he's going to disrupt the team. I think he's been a big advocate to have a lot of love spreading through the team, as we've seen with the fucking dog win. You get me? He wants to keep morales up and energies up, and he's had the benefit of working with him in the past. So if he was totally rotten, then I think Arteta wouldn't bring him in. But I don't know. I think there's some things that we might not know. You got to think newspapers, they will say this, say that. Podcasters will say this and say that without really knowing anything behind it. But I don't know. I think he's a quality player. People don't understand that Cancelo doesn't want to sit on the bench. His attitude is the worst. Well, this is coming from a City fan, so maybe we've got to take that on board if he doesn't want to come in. But maybe Arteta might say to him, look, you're going to be rotated through the team. You might not be a every game starter, but you will definitely be getting game time. That could will that work for him? Obviously, you know him better than what we do. He's been at your club for a few years now. Let us know on that because I don't know. I'd like to see him at the club. That's my honest opinion. I think he's got bags full of quality and he'll come in and he'll add something to us. Prayers for KDB and Timber, quick recovery, 100%, man. Two big losses. You get me? We've lost two big players for one for City and one for Arsenal. You get me? We might say we're jumping on the Timber train too fast because he's only had one game at the Arsenal. But through pre-season and what we've seen from him, even in that first game, he just looks like a big loss, definitely, 100%. I could see in the future Timber potentially taking Ben White's spot at right back, Gabriel, Saliba, and we're going to touch on Kieran Tierney as well, people, because it looks like he's going to be leaving the club. I think Arsenal won't let him go until we sign a replacement for that position because we know Zinchenko is injured 24/7. Kivior, left back, I don't think it's going to work out properly. Tomiyasu, he's not a natural left back. He's better in the right back position for me. I think we will definitely go out there to bring a replacement in before September. But it's sad to see Kieran Tierney leave this football club if he does. And I think if we do bring somebody in, that's just say it all for us. That just says it all. You get me? He's definitely going to be going. I think Newcastle are interested in him. I think Newcastle want a loan for Kieran Tierney. We've seen Sociedad interested in him. There's quite a bit of clubs that are interested in Kieran Tierney. Whether Arteta wants to sell him on, which is probably looking like his preferred option, we're going to have to wait and see. And that's all down to whoever comes into the club. Tavares as well. You get me? The forgotten man, Nuno Tavares. He went out. He had a bit of time on loan. He had a good little spell. Then he fell out with the gaffer. It all went tits up, and now he's back at Arsenal. So we've not seen him in pre-season. We've not seen him on the bench. He's the forgotten man. You get me? I think he's going to definitely be on his way out, and he looks like he's nearing a move to Nottingham Forest. You get me? Nottingham Forest look like they're after him. They're after absolutely everybody at the moment, Nottingham Forest. And I can see him going there. I think Fabrizio Romano has come out and said a proposal has definitely been put forward for Tavares from Nottingham Forest. I don't think the details of that deal has come out yet, but I think that will be one where it will get done pretty fast and Nottingham Forest will get him signed over the line because Arsenal clearly do not see him in the plans at all. Social says, we don't need newspapers. Everywhere Cancelo has been, he's kicked up a fuss, bad vibes. Yeah, I suppose so, but it's one of them, innit? I don't know. I think we need a body in there. I don't think there's many players that are better than Cancelo in that position. Sometimes you got to be a good manager and deal with egos. It just shows if you're a top quality manager. We know Pep is, and it didn't work there. But if Arteta's got better people skills than him, or he can maybe develop his mindset a little bit better, yeah, maybe he might just have a straightforward conversation with him before he signs. If he does sign, come in. This is your role. If you want to fulfill it and you're not going to be causing any fuckeries, then happy days. We're happy to have you. If you are going to kick up a fuss, if you're not happy with that, then nice knowing you. See you later. We'll look for a different option. At the end of the day, he's not a player of Arsenal at the moment. This is just potential links that are being put out there that he could potentially be on his way. But I think he will probably go to Barcelona. That's just my honest opinion. I can see him going over there. Laporte, again, let me know. Would you take Laporte at the club? You get me? Because can you see Laporte stepping in and playing as a left back? Can you see Gabriel maybe going in the left back position and Laporte playing alongside Saliba? We're going to have to wait and see. Cancelo is good going forward, but he's got the same weakness as Zinni. No defensive awareness. Thank you. I prefer KT. Defense comes first always. 100%, bro. I'm with you like that. You get me? I'm always on that kind of hype. I want Kieran Tierney to start. I think defensively he's sound. And to be honest, that's what you need in football. Championships are built on defense. You get me? Now, maybe I'm a bit of an old dog in the game, and I don't really like to see certain things change and progress. But we just got to look at it and think there's a new modern era of football, and systems are changing, everything's changing. Maybe we just got to get with the times as well. So I've told you I'll be absolutely gutted if Kieran Tierney goes, but at the same time, I've got so much respect and love for the guy that I don't just want to see him rotting away on the bench at Arsenal when he's a top quality player and he can go to a side and he'll make them so much better. I'm telling you now, it's mad thing. How long Laporta got on his deal? I'm not too sure, but I'd probably say he hasn't got that long if the City are trying to move him on. Probably about 2 years, but a City fan's going to have to come in and tell us that. Nottingham Forest, we got Lokonga, Cedric Holding, good deals. Hurry up and buy him. Nah, 100. You know what? Lokonga needs to go, man. Lokonga, potentially might be going to Burnley. There's been talks of Vincent Company interested in him. Cedric, I don't even know why the fuck we signed Cedric. I'll be honest with you. You get me? From when we actually signed him on an initial loan, I was thinking, what is going on here? Why are we signing this guy? Holding, you can't really cuss too much. He came in for like £2 million, you get me? So it's more or less free. You look at the prices of people today, it's more or less free. We get a 10 mil for Holding, happy days. We made some profit on him and all good in the hood, but it looks like Holding's going to be very limited to game time and he will probably be on his way out. I could always see Holding at a team like West Ham or somebody like that. You get me? He could be maybe going to somebody lower in the league. But Forest could do with a Holding. That's the truth. You get me? He'll be linking up with Matt Turner, potentially Tavares. So that might be a good shout as well for Holding. Arteta has a history of making injured players play on and making it worse. Yeah, I suppose so, but I don't know, man. I think that was just an unfortunate injury. I don't think we can really blame anyone for it. I don't think it was the wisest decision to keep him playing because if you're 2-0 up and you're in a decent position and one of your main guys is starting to look a bit injured and he was on the floor for ages, half time comes, take him out, or is the assessment team not that great? Because realistically, I expect the assessment team to be looking at that situation and thinking, nah, this one's a bit of a risk. It's his knee. When it comes down to your knee or vital parts, you can't fuck around with it. But people, we have come to the end of the show. Just before we do that, let me get this comment in. What's your expectations this season? Who will win the league and finish in the top four? Do you know what? At the start of the campaign, I said Man City to win the league. I thought Arsenal and Liverpool will battle it out for second and third. But no, I'm changing my opinion. I don't think Liverpool have enough in midfield. I thought the midfield that they would have would be enough. I don't think McAllister is going to be good enough to be that lone centre defensive midfielder. We've seen him miss out now on Caicedo, and we've seen him miss out on Lavia. They definitely need to bring a defensive midfielder in. If they bring somebody in, I think they'll have a lot in the locker. I think it's going to be between Arsenal and City. I think we're going to have to wait and see how Manchester City cope without Kevin De Bruyne because that will have an impact on Haaland's goal without a shadow of a doubt. We've seen how many assists that Kevin De Bruyne puts on a plate for Haaland. I think that's going to become a bit of an issue for City. So I think if De Bruyne is out for a long, long period of time and Arsenal manage to bring in another body in the defensive position to recover for Timber, I think it'll be a lot closer than what people think and what we think. So I can't really give you a proper expectation now of where I see Arsenal and City finishing. But I think it's going to be between them two clubs. I think top four will be Arsenal, City, Liverpool, and United. That's my opinion. I think that would be the top four. However, I always cuss Chelsea, call them post-Roman bums and this, that, and the other and whatnot. But I must give them some credit, actually. Bringing in two players like Lavia and Caicedo changes the whole dynamic of the club. I still think they're very short of a striker, and I think that's where their problems are going to occur. I think Fofana being out injured is going to be a problem for them. We've seen Reece James and Chilwell having serious injury problems over the last couple of years. So if they could keep them fit, it might be a little bit different. But I think they'll just fall short of the top four. I think they'll probably be definitely within the top eight, but they'll improve. They'll improve. But I can see that being the top four. I can see Newcastle finishing fifth, which could potentially be enough for them to get Champions League football as well. Get a few more of your comments in before I wrap it up whilst they're here. He should have brought him off ASAP. Did the same with Partey 2 seasons ago. Obviously, I'm guessing you're referring to Timber. Should have got brought off earlier. Physio failed Timber big time, sackable offence. You get me? Swear down. Us fans are funny though, because by the time we sack everybody, we'll have nobody left at the club. You know what I mean? Old days, ballers started on the non-list, on the non-ballers 8 bench. Now it ain't no longer about ability; it's about system adaptability, which is a shame. Nah, 100, I get it. But look at Man City, man. Look at Pep Guardiola. He's changed everybody's thought process by being such a successful manager. Liverpool have a lot of firepower, but Klopp surely can't keep playing them all. He won't have a bench for depth. Suppose so. I was surprised Nunes didn't start that game, to be honest with you, against Chelsea. I was surprised. If Paqueta comes in, we might have a chance, but KDB would be missed. I got Newcastle in the top 4. Just a quick one on the Paqueta deal. I think Paqueta's decent. I think he'll be a lot better at City than he would be at West Ham, being around better players. But I don't think he set the house on fire at West Ham and in the Premier League last season. So there's going to have to be a bit of work done to him. He ain't going to come in and make that same effect as KDB. So like you said, he will be missed. But people, make sure you're smashing a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new as well. Turn your notifications on. So anytime a video is going to get dropped, you'll be the first to know, people. But I appreciate the love and support. Appreciate the comments. Again, you don't have to send no super chats. I'll read out as many comments as I can read out. You get me? But peace and love, and we'll see you on the next one.